So, like I just said, you recently found internet stardom within the UK regarding your university dissertation. Could you tell us just a little bit about that, please?
So my dissertation for my final year university degree was on Fiat 500 Twitter. I basically analysed a group of tweets. I think it was about 200 tweets from Fiat 500 Twitter, which I then analysed the language. I was focusing on which linguistic features are in the tweets that makes people label them as such. And yeah, there was some interesting discoveries. The most interesting one probably being that the most popular word that they use in their tweets is boyfriend, coupled with Sunday boyfriend, which was very interesting. Fiat 500 Twitter is kind of hard to explain to people who aren't on Twitter. To people who have an account on Twitter and use Twitter quite regularly, they know that it is basically basic white girls. So it will be girls who will tweet about having a Chinese, missing their boyfriend, wanting cuddles. They basically, I think people will say that they just tweet really basic things, really obvious things that will then get hundreds and hundreds of retweets for no reason.
I do not like the Fiat 500. I think the Fiat 500 opinion is very negative, because it's one of the sort of things where like there's only like a certain type of people that would drive those cars. And from what I've heard and from my opinion, I think it's just one of them things where it's just like really negative.
I like my Fiat 500 because I personally own one, and I think it's just an easy car to drive and I enjoy driving my car. I would say the main stereotypes of Fiat 500 drivers are negative. I feel like most people look at them and kind of like, Fiat 500 driver, basic bitch.
The Fiat 500, notorious for its stereotypes, but it wasn't always like this. It was introduced in 1957 as the Cinquecento and marketed as a cheap town car. It is still marketed as such today, but why has the view of the car changed? In recent years, the Fiat 500 has been associated with young white girls who are seen to be bad drivers. This isn't necessarily the case, but the recent trend of the Fiat 500 Twitter has certainly popularised this stereotype.
I think the stereotypes surrounding them come from people who are the opposite of Fiat 500 Twitter. So the girls who are being labelled as such are not going to be labelling themselves. I would only say that I'm probably it just because I'm, looked into it a lot. But I think on Twitter it is similar aged people, but they are men, and they just don't like them girls. So I think it is men that are trying to be malicious about it. They're trying to say that they are basic girls that they don't want anything to do with. So yeah, I think overall it would be negative, but it depends how you would take that. I don't think it's a good thing to be labelled as Fiat 500 Twitter though.
I would say the majority of people who give these stereotypes are like young men, kind of just taking the mick out of young female drivers. I've personally been subjected to young men taking the mick out of me for driving my car, so that's what I think.
This debate on the Fiat 500 and whether it's a good or a bad car will never have a definitive answer. Should this debate be stopped, or should this type of discussion be a part of society, thus creating a further driving divide?